In 1931, the Olympic Committee awarded the 1936 Summer Olympics to Germany in order to bring them back into favor with the international community after World War I. At this point, Germany had a weak democracy and a failing government. In 1933, an Austrian born man named Adolf Hitler was awarded chancellery. Within months, Hitler had turned Germany into a one man dictatorship that revolved around himself. Germany was going through a depression because of the Treaty of Versailles that basically bankrupted the nation. Hitler blamed Jews for the depression, and his anti Semitism began to spread rapidly. Germany became extremely prejudiced against Jews, gypsies, and other unwanted, impure people. He believed that the blonde and blue-eyed Aryan race was pure and genetically perfect, and that all the other races were inferior. Hitler used the Olympics to deceive and trick the international community into thinking Germany was a perfect country, the showcase of the new Germany to the world, and the beginning of a terrible time. This is a frontier in history.
Until Minister for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda Joseph Goebbels persuaded Hitler that the Olympics could advance the Nazi cause and highlight the German master race, Hitler had no interest in holding the Games. All German sporting groups adopted an Aryans-only mandate in April 1933. Jews, Roma, and people of Jewish ancestry were all denied access to German sporting facilities and organizations. Germany effectively marketed the Olympics using eye-catching posters and magazine layouts by connecting Nazi Germany and ancient Greece.
In April 1933, there was an Aryans-only policy which was instituted in all German athletic organizations, making it so no Jewish Germans can compete in the Olympics. One athlete by the name of Margaret Lambert, who was one of the best German high jumpers. She had jumped 5 feet 3 inches, which tied the German record and would have been good enough to win gold in the Olympics. After winning that meet, she later received a letter from Nazi officials informing her that she had not qualified for the Olympics and her accomplishment was removed from the record books.
The year before the Olympics were filled with controversy. Many countries disapproved of Hitler and the Nazis and were going to boycott the Olympic Games. Specifically, the United States had many people who called for the boycott, including New York Mayor LaGuardia, New York Governor Smith, and Massachusetts Governor Curley. The international community, in response to this calls for boycott, urged Germany to have Jewish athletes compete for Germany. Although Germany gave assurance that there would be, no Jewish athletes competed for Germany.
The German propaganda machine was one of the greatest of all time. Many posters were printed depicting Jews as goblins and inhuman creatures, while many posters were also printed of tall and muscular blonde, blue-eyed people. The message that the Nazis were portraying was that Jews were money-hungry goblins and the Aryan race was genetically perfect. Movies were also made to portray the strength of the Nazis as a whole. The new Germany was here and the Nazis wanted to make sure the world knew. When the Olympics were upcoming, anti-Jewish propaganda was temporarily taken down and instead, pro-German propaganda was spread. Germany wanted to seem peaceful and wholesome to the outside world, although they were secretly trying to push Germany to be powerful and the Aryan race to be superior. One of Germany's other strengths in propaganda was their video and movie making. Leni Riefenstahl is one of the most decorated movie directors of all time. She made many movies for the Nazis portraying German strength and superiority after being asked by Hitler to make a film in preparation for the Olympics. Although Riefenstahl was instructed by the Nazis not to record non-Germans winning, she defied her orders and recorded Jesse Owens' astronomical 4 gold medals. Hitler used his persona as a messiah or savior to brainwash Germany. He said in a speech that if Jews captured the world with their Marxism creed, mankind will be destroyed. Hitler's biography was published in 1923, and in it stated that Hitler was the only one who could redeem Germany and that he was comparable to Jesus Christ. Hitler's propaganda was directed at the whole public. By building a new Germany, Hitler attracted people to his power, reduced the cost so that more people could buy the new Volkswagen Beetle. Hitler then got supported by encouraging young people to join his Hitler Youth Clubs, which offered events for kids and teens. The primary goals of the activities were to keep the children active, healthy, and brainwashed into joining the Nazi government.
For the Summer Games from August 1st to the 16th, the Nazis put a lot of effort into preparation. A massive sports complex was built, complete with a modern Olympic village for the athletes and a new stadium. Berlin was cheerful and busy, with swastikas and Olympic flags covering the buildings and landmarks. The majority of the visitors had no idea the Nazis had temporarily taken down anti-Jewish signs. Around 800 Roma living in Berlin and its surroundings were detained on July 16, 1936, and they were held in a separate camp in the Berlin district of Marzahn while being guarded by police.
Speech at Nuremberg. Nothing is possible unless one will commands, a will which has to be obeyed by others, beginning at the top and ending only at the very bottom. This is the expression of an authoritarian state, not of a weak, babbling democracy. Of an authoritarian state where everyone is proud to obey, because he knows, I will likewise be obeyed when I must take command.
While speaking to Heinrich Himmler, Hitler said, "This criminal race has the 2 million dead of the First World War on their conscience, and now hundreds of thousands. Let no one say to me, we cannot send them into the mire. Who concerns themselves about our men? It is good if preceding us into terror that we're exterminating the Jews. The attempt to found a Jewish state will fail."
Hitler's Reichstag speech. The peoples will soon realize that Germany under National Socialism does not desire the amenity of other people. I want once again to be a prophet. If the international finance Jewry inside and outside of Europe should succeed in plunging the peoples of Earth once again into a world war, the result will not be the Bolshevization of the Earth, and thus a Jewish victory, but the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe. Berlin had been selected to host the 1936 Olympic Games before the Nazis came to power, but the regime took full advantage of the enormous propaganda opportunity the Games presented. The Nazi regime hoped to portray Germany as a tolerant and hospitable nation. Violence was suppressed, anti-Jewish signs were temporarily removed, and the fiercely anti-Semitic newspaper Der Stürmer was taken off public display in Berlin. Nazi officials decreed that foreign visitors would not be subjected to anti-homosexuality laws, but some acts of persecution were intensified, and Roma families living in Berlin were forcibly moved to a camp at Marzahn on the city's outskirts. There was worldwide pressure to boycott the Games, but in the end only the Soviet Union refused to take part. Some individual athletes, including 3 Jewish members of the Austrian women's swimming team, Judith Deutsch, Ruth Langer, and Lucy Goldner, also refused to participate. All 3 were subsequently banned for 2 years by the Austrian Swimming Association. Several Jewish athletes won medals at the 1936 Olympics, including the Austrian weightlifter Robert Fine, who broke the lightweight world record. Jesse Owens, an African-American athlete and winner of 4 gold medals at the 1936 Games, set a world record in the long jump, Olympic records in the 100-meter and 200-meter races, and helped the American team set an Olympic record in the 4x100-meter relay. The Nazis considered his race to be subhuman, but to the rest of the world, Owens became a hero of the Games, while some visitors realized that the Olympics were being used to disguise the true nature of the Nazi regime. Many others left Berlin impressed by the spectacle and dazzled by the sporting success they had witnessed. American journalist William Shirer recorded in his diary, "I'm afraid the Nazis has succeeded with their propaganda." Germany had accomplished their goal of appearing peaceful and kind with the propaganda they used and had successfully fooled the world. Just 3 years later, the Nazis would start the most deadly conflict in human history, World War II.
During one of Hitler's many speeches, he said, "Today I will once more be a prophet. If the international Jewish financiers in and outside Europe should succeed in plunging nations once more in a world war, then the result will not be the Bolshevization of the earth and the victory of Jewry, but the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe."